What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, it's time to talk about Shanks, alright? It's a topic I've been trying to figure out how we're going to approach it, what we're going to say, how we're going to talk about it, but I think this is the day where we just talk about Shanks. If you know about Shanks, you know, and if you don't know about Shanks, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to help. You see, there are two secret rare cards in Romance Dawn. You've got Shanks and Yamato. Now, if you follow my other channel, PTCG Radio, where we discuss Pokemon stuff, you will have heard a few times about the lovely Antoine Boulet, one of our very favourite people who translates Japanese into English, even though they're French. Antoine is brilliant. But I was speaking to Antoine the other day, and I told him about this, the fact that there are two secret rares, and Antoine went, yeah, Shanks is a more popular character. That makes sense. So apparently, two secret rares, Shanks is the more popular of the two. Okay, fine, that makes perfect sense. Here's the thing, though. There are not one, but two alternate art cards of the secret rare Shanks. Why are there two alternate art cards? Because Bandai have gone and done what Bandai seem to do. And I've spent a couple of days trying to downplay it and imagine that it's going to be fleeting. And I think it might still be, let's be clear. However, I think it's time to accept the fact that maybe, just maybe, this is that gosh darned good. Or at least expensive. Incidentally, as a card, this Shanks does actually look like a pretty good card. As I showed you the other day, green is the colour that is really just running away at the moment with the format. It's super, super crazy early, but it does seem to be green. It is absolutely running away with everything. But if we take a little bit of a look at the secret rare Shanks, what we've essentially got here is a 9-cost 10,000 power character, super expensive, but Rush and your opponent cannot activate blocker with characters that got 2,000 power or less. So 10,000 power and rush and can't be blocked by tiny characters. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. That is potentially very, very punishing. But as I told you a second ago, there are actually two alternate arts of this secret rare. Why are there two alternate arts? Well, so that they can be a little bit fancy. So Bandai did tweet out this image, and this shows I suppose the best way to put it is the regular alternate arts of the secret rares. And let's be perfectly clear, these cards alone are going to be very sought after. These are going to be cards that people are absolutely loving. People are going to want these cards. However, when it comes to Shanks, there is a second version that Digimon have gone and tweeted out about, and it's the one that people are generally referring to as the manga version. Essentially, it is Shanks, but what you've got there is a kind of manga artwork coming in behind, and it's clearly a beautiful card, right? It's clearly a very nice card. It's clearly very similar, incidentally, to the other alternate art print. It's clearly along the same kind of lines, but it's also clearly a little bit different and a little bit special. And I will say, when Bandai tweeted out about this, they weren't shy in telling us that this is going to be the card we're all going to be after. The tweet, according to Google Translate, says, "The first booster, Romance Dawn, contains a super parallel version of the secret rare Shanks with a very low probability. It is a gorgeous specification with the famous scene of the original." So Bandai themselves are literally telling us, yeah, just to be clear, this is a very rare card. There is a very low probability. Essentially, don't expect to pull this. People on the Facebook have been saying this is one every few cases. Having said that, no one on the Facebook is really running with a huge sample size at the moment. So I think we need to try and temper, any conclusions we can draw. We need to be a little bit careful. What we can say is it's officially very, very rare. And actually, yeah, the prices over on Mercari are going a little bit silly. Essentially, Mercari is what you use over in Japan. Rather than something like eBay, you would generally go to Mercari. And what we can see is there are a lot of listings which are very, 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 very high. So here are a couple of listings that we see, one for 150,000 yen and one for 200,000 yen. And incidentally, let's be super clear. This is a new card, and it is a very rare card, and nobody really knows at this stage how much it's supposed to be, what the real value is. Everybody's kind of making it up a little bit as they go along, so we're not going to see a super clear value here. We need to be a little bit careful in terms of value. I can give you some rough approximation, but that is the best I can actually give you in terms of a rough approximation. That is all we can have. So if we go and translate that into dollars, which I think the majority of you guys tend to work in, I'm not saying all of you, but I know a lot of you do, then 150,000 yen, you're talking somewhere in the region of $1,100. And 200,000 yen, you're talking somewhere in the region of $1,500. That is roughly what people are asking for in terms of the value of this card over on Mercari. Now, it's interesting to note that they haven't actually sold, but some of them have. So, for instance, here's a listing that's gone and sold for 78,000 yen, which you will notice, I mean, don't get me wrong, right? 78,000 yen is still a huge amount of money, but compared to what we were asking, it's kind of adorable. It's like $600. And again, I'm not saying that $600 is nothing. $600 is clearly a very large amount of money, but I am telling you that compared to, $1,500, that's kind of cheap. That is kind of cheap. But of course, sold listings, you have to be a little bit careful. They could be a little bit old. People could have put them up as a little bit of a mistake. So here's one for $110,000 that currently hasn't sold. Now, there is one right next to it for $190,000, which is a little bit funny. Yeah, I think it's fair to say if I'm over on Mercari and I'm shopping for this particular card, I'm probably paying $109,000 before I'm paying $189,000. But, it's there. And in terms of sold listings, like I said, we've got the 77,000, and that's rather lovely. But then the next one I see which has gone and sold has sold for 86,000 yen, which is very much in the ballpark of what we saw. 86,000 yen's like $640. So again, this card is selling over on Mercari, and like I say, when you're looking at kind of a general marketplace for Japanese cards, etc., Mercari is generally a pretty good place to look. But all of these listings for 150, 200,000 yen, as it stands, they're not selling. And the listings that are somewhere in the region of about 80,000 yen, those are the ones that are actually selling, that people are actually pulling the trigger on. And that is a vastly, vastly different amount of money. But then again, there's always an outlier. Here's one that actually sold for 160,000 yen. 160,000 yen, if you're wondering, is about $1,200. And somebody actually paid that. That did actually sell. But then again, that was an earlier listing. And, sometimes the earlier listings when the card first comes out do tend to be just a little bit higher. And they kind of come down over time. There's that fear of missing out. There's the hype when a set first drops. There's wanting to be the first person to have it, maybe the first person to grade it, etc. So there is a real conclusion to be drawn here. And I hate to break it to you, but, I'm going to give you two more examples, okay? Here's one that sold for 50,000 yen, and here's one that sold for 80,000 yen. My point is, if we're looking for an actual value, looking at Mercari and actual sold listings, it's about 80,000 yen. Now, I'm not saying some people haven't paid more than that. They have, I've shown you. But then by the same token, I've shown you that some people have paid less than that. And I'm not telling you that you can go out today and guaranteed pick it up for 80,000 yen, but I'm saying that from the sold listings we've seen, that seems to be a very rough, and I do mean very rough approximation of about roughly what it's worth. 80,000 yen seems to be about right, which is going to come in at about $600. So don't get me wrong, it is probably about a $600 card, but I keep seeing people trying to sell it for $1,000 or more. And what I'm saying is, if you go and have a dig around Mercari, the value just isn't there. It's not a card which is regularly commanding that much money. I showed you a moment ago, there is a listing up there right now for 110,000 yen, and frankly, I wouldn't pay that at the moment. I would hold on for a cheaper listing, because I think if you hold on, you're going to find some cheaper listings. That is just a prediction. I am not guaranteeing anything. If anybody's wondering, the other secret rare, the other alternate art secret rare, about 9,000 yen-ish. It's significantly cheaper. 9,000 yen's like $65. And again, that's another rough guide. These cards are new. They've just come out. And the first booster boxes, as I showed you the other day, sold out quite quickly. So be a little bit careful. But I think calling it about a 9,000 yen, 10,000 yen card at the moment is about right. Maybe the price goes up in time. Maybe it comes down as more boxes find their way onto the market. Like I say, we're talking a rough guide for now. Is it in the same league as cards like the Ghost Omnimon, for instance, which is a very, very crazy hyper rare Digimon card? And that is, the big Digimon card? People are certainly trying. And we're seeing listings over on Mercari at the moment for that card of around about 160,000 yen. And people are essentially, at the moment, trying to decide, and some people are trying to convince you, is this, alternate art Shanks on the same level as Ghost Omnimon? What I can tell you is Ghost Omnimon's been out for a while at this stage. Well over a year. So we've had time to settle on the value, and when it's listed for 160,000 yen, that is because that is a rough approximation of value, given that actually we've had long enough to figure this out. We're not there with Shanks. Shanks as a card is way too new, and we really don't have enough information, we don't have enough sold listings, etc. I'm going to be super interested to see. People want this to be on the level of Ghost Omnimon, but I think for the time being, we just have to sit and chill just for a moment. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling it an 80,000 yen card. If that's not right, I'm sorry, about $600. It's one of those we're going to have to wait and see. In a month or so, when we've had the reprint coming in, more cards sold, more cards pulled, etc., I can come back and give you a much better approximation of value, but this for today is what I can tell you. And now it's over to you guys. What do you think about this, Shanks? Do you think it's on the same level as Ghost Omnimon? Are you hyped for it? Have you pulled it? Are you going to buy it? How much would you pay for it, etc.? Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far, the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.